Hello, everyone, and welcome to this review of the biology syllabus. So I'm Mr. Miller here reporting to you from the greenhouse. All right, so let's get down to business here. Okay, so I'm Mr. Miller. My room is 142, so you can find my contact information right here at the top of the page as well as at the bottom of the page. If you need to get a hold of me, my schedule is as follows. I arrive at school every morning by 7:15. Periods 1 and 2 are prep periods for me. However, there is another teacher, Mr. Bergman, who teaches biology in room 142 during those times. So if you ever needed to come and get help, make sure to do so quietly, as another class would be going on. So I teach biology 3rd and 4th period, and then botany 5th, 6th, and 7th. So that's my schedule. If you need help, the best times are honestly before and after school. However, before school runs up against that 0 hour that there is also a biology class in here. So after school, though, would be a great option, as well as 1st or 2nd hour for certain circumstances, like making up a test or quiz. However, with this virtual hybrid format, much of that can be done online. All right, so the topics we're going to cover this semester in biology. First, let me note that due to this hybrid format, or potentially a all virtual format, this is largely subject to change how many of these topics we get to. We will certainly get to the scientific method, the first one, and likely the next several, chemistry of life, ecology, ecosystems, and communities. However, anything thereafter we will see based on the pacing of how we're doing, how well you're understanding the content. So bear that in mind. So the content that we're going to cover is based on the Wisconsin Next Generation Science Standards. So that is where the content is rooted in. So we focus largely, in the past, we focused a lot on process skill development. So many of these process skills can be carried out in a instructional format known as a POGIL, or a process-oriented guided inquiry learning, or lab, as it's also called. So these activities usually entail working in groups. Each different group member has a role. You might have participated in one of these before. However, due to COVID and social distancing protocols, this might change. Groups might get smaller. You might be talking to each other from a longer distance or virtually entirely. But these are the skills that are relevant in a POGIL, namely critical thinking, problem solving, and communication. All right, daily expectations for biology. Please come to class ready to learn with the following materials. So your Chromebook is very important, especially in this virtual hybrid time. So that is really going to be your one-stop shop to find daily agendas, to find assignments, like Power School and Skyward will be shown to you in a separate video. So Power School is where all assignments will be posted. Skyward holds the grade book, and a separate video will show you how to use those, as well as potentially some in-person instruction. All right, so please come to class with those materials, as well as binder, pens, pencils. Many of the paper products that we're used to using, like handing in papers, will not be relevant this year due to the school-wide getting rid of the handing out of papers, essentially. So, however, your own personal notes is going to be important to have a spiral notebook at class, so on and so forth. So take responsibility for your learning. So be engaged in class. So you're only coming to class, those of you who are hybrid students, actually coming in person, you're only coming to class 2 days a week. So I really expect you to be not only on your best behavior, however, to be ready to learn, ready to engage. So phones away. We're going to talk about how phones are not allowed in the class as well. And you should be exhibiting that academic integrity. So there are serious consequences for plagiarism and cheating, and that will be discussed subsequently. All right, so come to class on time with less people in the halls and specific hall rules this year. Be sure to be punctual and on time. Put your cell phones away and follow lab safety rules and expectations. Labs are going to be different this year, certainly. There's going to be less hands-on work, less use of glassware that multiple people would be touching. We'll have to take extra sanitation precautions. However, we will carry on. So some labs, or the majority of labs, may be virtual. Know that. Keep your cell phones away in your backpack. All right. So those who have excused absences will be given adequate time to make up late work. So regarding late work, any assignments handed in late are going to be worth 60% of the original value. So they will be 60% a week after it is assigned. They will be 60% 2 weeks after it was assigned, but it will also be 60% 1 day after it was assigned, assuming you are not absent. So, however, do not take this as a reason not to do work, because you're still losing out on 40% that you could have had if you turned it in on time. So be sure to turn your work in on time. That will ensure you to do the best in this class that you possibly can. And you cheat yourself out of fully understanding when you don't have assignments done. That means the assessments on that knowledge will likely, you won't do as well on them. So be sure. All right, attendance and absent policy. This is going to be largely dependent upon some changes that may come due to COVID. So we'll see about how much lenience there is regarding absences. Like certainly there might be some circumstances where it's just unavoidable, and I certainly understand that. Okay, grading scale is as follows, so you can look over that. Here are the different written categories of each letter grade. All right, now regarding how your grade is weighted. So out of your total 100% of your grade, 30% is going to be based on activities. So activities are described as lab and homework assignment effort and accuracy, article reviews, so the actual participation of during the lab, homework, daily homework assignments, smaller things, 30%. However, don't think that this can't make a difference, because if you do super well on tests and quizzes, but you choose not to do any of your activities or homework, the best you can do in this class is to get a 70%, which is a C-. So make sure to also do those daily assignments, which will lead you to do better in the bigger assessments. And 70% of the grade is based on these assessments, performance assessments, so tests, quizzes, lab conclusions, so actually interpreting the results of a lab. That's a little bit different from participating in the act of doing the lab. All right, so assessments can take different forms: labs, quizzes, so on and so forth, tests. First quarter and second quarter are weighted evenly, so they're each worth a 45%, making 90%. The final 10% is that final exam. And the nature of this final exam, or even the existence of the final, may hinge upon what happens with COVID. So that is subject to change. So I realize that there's a lot of things that are subject to change in this review. However, just know that we have to be flexible during this very difficult time, during this time of a pandemic. So I would ask that all of you keep that in mind. All right. So although biology is best learned by doing in the hands-on components, we're going to do our best this year. Being a new teacher, both of us are going to learn together. We're all going to learn together. And I thank you in advance for giving your best shot in bio. And I look forward to meeting each and every one of you, either in person or virtually. And my contact info is here. Thanks again. All right, take care.